Our topic today is the order of operations with positive integers. Now you may already be a little bit familiar with this, and we're going to talk about that, but order of operations refers to the four things that we can do with numbers at this level of our mathematics education. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. Add, subtract, multiply, divide. Those are the four operations. And you may have learned something like this. BIDMAS is a nice acronym that we have taught when you're younger that may be a little bit helpful. Brackets or parentheses or any of those sort of forms of inclusion, symbols of inclusion. That's the first thing we do. Indices, which we probably haven't talked about very much yet. Those are things like powers or exponents, things like squared or cubed. We're not going to deal with those today. And then these you're all familiar with: division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. That's the order that we do things in, or that you may have been taught that we do things in. We're going to modify that just a little bit today because, as you should know by now, addition and subtraction are inverse operations. They undo each other. And so rather than saying we do all the addition first and then all the subtraction, we're going to change this and say that we do the addition and subtraction together left to right, just like if we were reading. Similarly, we do the division all together left to right, again, just as if we were reading. Okay? So, what we're going to start with then is we're going to start with brackets. We won't worry about indices today. And then division and multiplication, and then addition and subtraction. So let's use an example. Let's say we had 6 plus 10 divided by 2. Now if we didn't know what we were doing very well, we'd just say, well, 6 plus 10 is 16, divided by 2 is 8. But that would give us the wrong answer. Why? Because we do the division and multiplication first. So in this case, we get 10 divided by 2, and that gives me 5. And then I have my 6 plus 5, and that gives me 11. Okay? Let's do another example. Let's say we had 18 minus 2 times 4 plus 6 divided by 5. And I've made this one a bit more interesting by throwing some brackets in there. Why? Because what do we have to do first? We have to do our brackets first. So, before we do anything else, we're going to do the brackets, and I left the times out. My apologies. There's the times there. We're going to do the brackets first. So this part becomes 10, and I have 18 minus 2 times 10 divided by 5. Now, as we talked about before, if we did this the wrong way, then we'd have 18 minus 2 is 14 times 10, and so on and so forth, which would give us the wrong answer. We need to do our division and multiplication first. And remember what we've learned, we don't just do the division first, we do multiplication and division left to right. So what are we going to do? We're going to leave the 18 minus 2, the 18 minus the way it is. Now we have 2 times 10, and that's 20. And we have our divided by 5 left over. Then we do 20 divided by 5, which is 4. So we have 18 minus 4, which gives me an answer of 14. Now we can also use this same method that we're talking about here to deal with word problems. So, as I erase this, I'm going to give you a problem. I would like the difference between 76 and 43. I'm going to triple that, and then I'm going to subtract from that the quotient of 35 and 7. Now that's a word problem. It's a long one, and I intentionally didn't write it up. I'm going to give it to you again. I want the difference between 76 and 43. I'm going to triple that, and then I'm going to subtract the quotient of 35 and 7. Now if you didn't get all that, let me try it again, and this time I'm going to write it down in mathematical language as I say it. I want the difference between 76 and 43. That's a subtraction problem. I want the difference between 76 and 43. And I'm going to triple that. What does that mean? Times 3. So 3 times. But before I go on, this would mean I did this first, and I don't want to do that. I want to do this part first. So 3 times, I'm going to triple the difference between 76 and 43. And then I'm going to subtract, minus, the quotient. What's a quotient again? It's the answer to a division problem. The quotient of 35 and 7. 35 divided by 7. Now, question, do I actually need those brackets? No, I don't, because this I would do before the subtraction anyway. So we're going to go ahead and take those brackets out. Now I'm going to read you the problem one more time and see if it makes sense to you. The difference of 76 and 43 tripled, and then I want to subtract from that the quotient of 35 and 7. Now we're going to solve the problem with the order of operations. We need to do the brackets first. So 76 take away 43 gives me 33. That's what's in the brackets. And we're just going to rewrite the rest of the problem for now. Then what we need to do is the times in the division, left to right. 3 times 33 rather is 99 minus 35 divided by 7. What times 7 is 35? Times tables, that gives me 5. 99 minus 5 is equal to 94. And that is order of operations with positive integers.